So, what in life did you struggle with? Tell me about it.
Well, I struggled in school and learning and paying attention. And I had to learn to concentrate. For the longest time, until I was in the 5th grade, didn't really know what was going on, and that's when my teacher, Mrs. Black, my 5th grade teacher, told my mom that I probably needed to go have my eyes checked. And so my mom took me to get my eyes checked, and I needed glasses. So that's why I never really done good at school until I got my glasses and I could see. That's when I started liking school a whole lot more. And then when I turned 13 years old, my mom again took me and I got contacts.
I'm guessing that kind of summarizes for the second questions, which was, who helped you through tough times?
My mom.
Your mama. If you could relive a time, what would it be and why?
Probably my junior year in high school. I enjoyed, I had such a good year that year between just from playing sports to having a really good year in school and my job in life at the time. I moved from a dishwasher to a cook. I was a cook at a seafood restaurant and got to learn how to cook steaks and roll stuff and like that. And, they actually made me and another friend, they put us as the manager of the kitchen of this restaurant that was real well known in our little community. And, I don't know. It was a good year. It was a good time, and it was the year before I graduated. So it just seemed like if you could go back into high school, you don't know how good you actually had it, because you're wanting to get older, you're wanting to do these other things in life, and you got to enjoy the things, the simple things, and that was simple. Simple time.
So this was a bit personal, and I actually wrote this one because I honestly wanted to interview you about this time, because I've already done it to Mom once or twice. But when Mama gave birth to me, what were you feeling when I got into the hospital and they were trying to figure out what was wrong with me? What was you feeling during that time?
Scared. Big time fear. No one wants to lose a child. The unknown.
Alright.
I didn't know,
Didn't know if I was going to be okay or not.
Didn't know if she was going to be here or not, And, as a parent, you'd do anything for any of your kids. So, you just start asking, if you could trade places, you would.
What mistake would you go back on and why?
Can you clarify that question?
Like, if you made any mistakes throughout your lifetime and like you like had a bit of like a regret about it, like which one in particular would you rather go back and change, like the outcome?
I think there's a better way to ask that question. What's the biggest mistake you made, and would you change it if you could? That sounds like a better way to
Yeah.
ask that. What mistake have you made that you would change if you could?
Yeah, that's a bit better. Yeah.
I've made a lot of mistakes. To say that going back and changing, there's probably too many to pick, but just like in my job, what I tell people in the job that I do, when I'm looking at mistakes that were made and stuff that went wrong, when we have a mistake in life, or when we have something, a regret or something that we've done wrong, what do we do with that? We use it as a learning moment. And to me, that's why one of the things, it's funny that you asked this question, because that is the thing that I use constantly with my job, because I tell people mistakes are not a bad thing, because it's what you do with that mistake in life, and how you turn it around. What you do, you learn not to make that mistake again. That's a lesson learned. So that's why that's a difficult question for me, because I deal with mistakes. I deal with when things go wrong. I just use that as a teaching moment to everybody that I work with. To me, if a mistake costs someone their life, then that's a bad mistake. That's when you would say, hey, I need to do, that would be a regret, a thing that I'd want to stop and not do it again, if I could go back and change it. But if it's something that we can learn from and do better going forward, then, that's why I say that's just kind of funny that you asked me that, because I know a lot of other people would probably give different answers, but that's my answer. I wouldn't change it.
Yeah. This one is just like a random thing. So I know Mom, me and her were talking about this during my middle school years when I had to do a project on 9/11. I just was real curious, what were you doing during 9/11? And like, if you were alive during it, which I'm guessing you were, since you're like, 2 years older than Mom. But
We were definitely alive.
Yes, I was alive during 9/11. I actually, at that time in my life, I was working for a surveying and engineering company. We had an older vehicle that we worked out of that did not have a radio. We were on our way to Lake Hickory to go work on a subdivision. We pulled into this little gas station that served breakfast. She's we got breakfast in the morning and filled our truck up with gas. It was kind of unlike any other morning. Basically, Basically because there was several vehicles there like any other morning. Usually there's like a buzz in the air and just people talking and noises, even people playing music loud in cars. That morning when we pulled in there, me and the guy that I work with, who was ex-military, we both kind of looked at each other because we thought it was so odd, because it was just a silence in the air. Eerie.
So like dead
It was
silent.
his day to drive, so he was pumping the gas. So I went into the store to get my biscuit and drink and everything. And as soon as I walked into the store, they had a little TV in the restaurant part of it, and there was just people of all walks of life gathered around this smaller TV hanging from the ceiling. And I could hear the news. I could tell it was, I want to say it was Tom Brokaw or something, I don't know. It was a familiar newscaster at the time, but I could hear his voice just very monotone, and they were talking about the World Trade Center and that a plane had flew into it. And by this time, I'm standing there at the back of the crowd, and my coworker had came in, and like I say, he was older than I am. Well, I say ex-military, and like I say, nobody was saying a word. It was just so, I don't know, it was almost like a thing out of a movie. And we actually at the time, the timing couldn't have been any, whatever, but we seen the second plane hit. As soon as that second plane hit, the guy I worked with, and there was another guy there in the restaurant, just so happened, both of them ex-military, one Air Force, one Army. It came out of their mouths pretty much simultaneously. We're under attack. Everybody in that place looked at each other, and there was mumbling. I can't remember what people were saying or anything, but I remember the people dispersing, getting in their cars and just leaving from there. And I can remember there was like hardly any traffic on the roads or anything. And about that time, we had one cell phone in our truck that was for work, and the office called our phone to tell us this information, and actually told us, hey, work up till lunchtime and then come in early, because didn't know what was going on. So that's pretty much what we did. We were up on Lake Hickory, but the office is back in Statesville, so we had to, we ate our lunch. We didn't really get much done that day because we were just talking, just being this other guy. And I'd learned a lot from him that day, from his military experience, and then what was going on because I knew some things. I knew I'd heard about terrorists before, but I never knew that they would be capable of doing something of that large a scale. And then come back home, and because my mind was here, my mind was on my wife, and at the time I had a what, 2-year-old, 3-year-old.
Well, since
2-year-old.
it was a 1-year-old. Wait.
No, 2-year-old.
9/11. Yeah, 2001. So
I
2-year-old.
had a 2-year-old.
She was 1.
She was born in 99. December.
Yeah, 1999, but she would have been like a few months during 2000, but because her birthday's December 15th,
September, she's still one.
she would have been 1 in 2001. So, yeah.
And I'm saying, I knew I had a small child.
Yeah.
And not knowing what's going on in the world. And also being a firefighter at the time, and what I was seeing and hearing about these firefighters, it kind of hit home.
So the 7th question is, if you were to give someone work advice, like advice on how like to get something done, or like maybe how to improvise on their work a little, like work efforts a little, what advice would you give them?
I like to think that I have a strong work ethic. And my thing is to always, well, I'll put it to you like this. I can remember what my grandfather told me, and I tell a lot of other people this. And he told me when I was very young that if you find something you enjoy, find a way to make money, and you'll never work a day in your life. So I enjoy helping people, and I enjoy public service. I enjoy emergency services. So I was so glad that I got involved in that. Gives me a sense of pride that it's kind of like an honor thing. So I'm doing something honorable.
Yeah.
So that's why I chose what I do. But to me, I think also to kind of help somebody along the way too. And what has really helped me in the past couple of years is I started scheduling my stuff. Scheduling a little, and got me a little book, and I write down things that I wanted to get done that day. And as I write them out and do stuff, I check them off. So as I do this stuff, I get so much accomplished more. So I think by making yourself like an assignment and holding yourself accountable, that's what makes you succeed.
Yeah. So my 8th question for you is, tell me about your childhood. What are some memorable moments?
I guess I was lucky living behind my grandpa and grandma, growing up, and my other grandparents not living that much further away. I really enjoyed spending time with both sets of grandparents. I like going on vacations during summer with my parents. I liked it a lot when my grandpa that owned the farm, he bought a horse, and it became like art horse. It was art thing to do together, and that taught me about taking care of something. something that was, you know, it was my responsibility to make sure the water trough was filled up. It was my responsibility to make sure that he got his sweet feed. It was my responsibility that he got his hay. It was my responsibility to clean his stall. So, I guess that was a big thing, and that happened when I was 12 years old. So having that, and even getting to do that while being a teenager and having other things to do, high school sports, high school schoolwork, you know, having a job, regular job, to having, you know, friends and dating and stuff like that. So having all that combined, but I still had that responsibility of, you know, helping, you know, taking care of the horse. And so that was a big thing for me. But yeah, I mean, I had a good childhood. I really did. I mean, I can't say that I had a bad childhood, because I mean, yeah, you always want this, want that, and everything else, but you know what? I was always taken care of. I never went hungry. I never went without clothes. I never went without shoes. I mean, there was always somebody there. My mom was a stay-at-home mom, so she was always there for me.
All right. These are our last two questions. So, number 9, what would be your definition of a hero? Like your personal definition of one?
Role model.
Role model?
So somebody that makes you want to aspire to be them. Not exactly that they do something heroic, but they're just a good person. That they seem to always do what's right. But also knowing that being a hero, you can't have faults. Nobody's perfect. But somebody that's a role model. Somebody that was, I guess, role models to me growing up, and I could say are heroes to me on a personal level, would have probably been my mom, her mama, my grandpa, which would have been my mom's father, and I had an uncle two uncles that were always there for me, always had my back no matter what. I could do no wrong in their eyes. Really in any of them in life, I could do no wrong. That type of love and support system. But now on a bigger scale, you know, you talk about, you know, heroes to you. I guess you would say my first hero, or whatever person that I can remember on TV. It's kind of strange that it's these two, because I had t-shirts and stuff and toys from both of them. But it would have been Fonzie from Happy Days, and the other was the Lone Ranger.
Our final question. So currently in class, we are reading something called the Hero's Code. And we have learned about the top 10, like, Hero's Code type of traits, or like 5 or however many they mention in the book. Honestly, we haven't gotten that far yet. We're only at chapter 5. Anyway, point is, so in the book there are many traits, and my final question for you is, what's one trait you think you possess? Why do you think it describes you?
Dedication. Whatever I set out to do, I try to be dedicated. And that comes from just, I guess, my work ethic and anything else. I try to be dedicated. Whether it's to our family, whether it's to work, whether it's to anything I volunteer doing, I've always tried to be dedicated. It goes back to playing sports. There may have been times that I knew I was going to miss something, but I had a ball game that I had to attend, so I had to be dedicated to my team. There may have been times that I wanted to be doing something else, especially on the weekend with my family, but I had to work, so I had to be dedicated to go to work, or even working in emergency services, missing holidays with my family. I would much rather be with y'all on a holiday, but I had to be dedicated and go to work because I knew that if I didn't go do it when it was my turn, then I was taken away from somebody else doing it when it wasn't. So I had to be dedicated. And then when I'm with my family, especially on a holiday or especially if we're on a vacation, that I dedicate myself to that whole experience and make sure that we have the most fun and best time that we can while we're doing it. So, dedication, being dedicated.
Thank you.